Hi, my name is Jenny Pedigo with Sew Kind of Wonderful, and I am going to demonstrate the quick curve ruler today. When you purchase your ruler, you get a free pattern with the ruler. And here's the pattern on the back, and I'm going to show you how to make the block in that pattern. And it's actually this block right here, and this is the runner pattern that comes with the ruler. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take an 8.5 inch strip of fabric. I'm going to lay it out on my cutting mat. And on the ruler, there's some dashed lines right here and then right here. So I want to center that strip of fabric in between those dashed lines on my ruler. And I'm going to make my cut, and I just want that curve cutout to be over my fabric on the end. So when I cut, this is scrap, and now that gave me my first cut. Medium rotary cutter works the best. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to shift the ruler down. Again, center those dashed lines in between my strip. And then there's a curved dashed line on the ruler, and that sits right over the cut I just made. So once I have all these 3 dashed lines lined up, then I'm going to cut in my curve cutout, and that gives me my middle shape. So then normally I would keep going down my strip and I would keep cutting all my curves out till I get to the end. And normally I would have more than 1 layer of fabric stacked, so you can cut more at one time. So the next piece we're going to cut is our background fabric that's going to go on each side of this middle piece. And this is an 8.5 by 3.5. Again, I'm going to center that in between the dashed lines on the quick curve ruler, and then the edges are together on the side. So the side of my block sits on the side of my ruler. Going to cut in my curve cutout. And what that does is that gives me my 2 background pieces. So now I'm going to sew these together. And I'm going to sew right sides together. I'm going to flip that on top of that piece. We're going to sew with the convex on top and the concave on the bottom. And that bottom piece is extending 1/4 inch. So I'm going to gradually bring my 2 curved pieces together, making sure the edges stay together right underneath my foot. And I do use a 1/4 inch foot for sewing these curves. So I'm going to gradually bring these 2 pieces together. I like to hold the top piece with my right hand, and the bottom I shift over with my left. But you do whatever works for you. Some people like to hold it the opposite. And so just a matter of experimenting and seeing which way you like best. So we'll go ahead and sew the other side on. Again, you want to sew right sides together, convex on top, concave on the bottom, and that bottom piece extending about 1/4 inch. And what's great is when you by the ruler and you do this little runner pattern, it gives you lots of practice in sewing these curves so that you can feel comfortable sewing them when you get into a bigger project, a bigger pattern, quilt pattern. So there's my block. Now I'm going to go ahead and press that. I'm going to press from the back and I'm going to press towards my focus fabric, but you can press these seams any way you like, but I like to press towards my focus fabric, towards that middle piece. A little bit of steam helps the block lay nice and flat. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to square this block up, because this is also a square up ruler. So I'm going to line this block up underneath my ruler. I'm going to square it up to a 4x8. And I've put little dots on here with a little paint pen, or you could use a Sharpie, but I put a dot right up here on the 1/4 inch mark in from the edge of my ruler, and then down here on the 8-inch line, 1/4 inch in from the edge of my ruler. And then I'm just going to line those dots right over my seams, my curved seam up here and down there. I'm going to trim off these two sides. Now rotate my block, and then all I need to do now is line it up on the 4-inch vertical line and the 8-inch horizontal line. Trim off my other two sides. And now you're left with a perfectly rectangular block. So when you start sewing all these blocks together, they go together nicely. And just to give you a sample or an example of where it would be in your pattern, you can see where that would sit. So that's it for demonstrating the quick curve ruler. And if you have any questions, you can email us at sewkindofwonderful@gmail.com, or you can go to our website at sewkindofwonderful.com. And thanks.